Okay, we're going to do a sound check real quick. So, this week's topic for the sound check, we'll start with Dave this week. Dave, outside of stuff you've been doing, anything you might have been consuming for the show, what have you been watching lately? Anything interesting? Movie, TV,
Uh,
infomercial?
let's see. So, a couple days ago, I went and saw the Backrooms with my fiance for a date, and that
Mm-hmm.
was pretty fun. It didn't. So, I have a vague familiarity with the Backrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got like a whole bunch of weird monsters and stuff in
Oh
it.
yeah, I'm familiar.
Um, and it's just kind of them running around, and you just gotta avoid them or whatever. Um, and I think that the director made a really good call by not focusing on just here's monster, here's monster, here's monster,
Mm-hmm.
here's monster. And instead made it more like the Backrooms acted as a reflection of psychology of those who enter it.
A little Silent Hillish
Um,
in a way.
and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of Silent Hill in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think with that, it allowed the director to have the core idea of the Backrooms while not making it just full of what general audiences would consider just random bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they went that route, which I know that some people who are fans of the Backrooms wanted, which is like monster, 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 monster,
Mm-hmm.
that the movie for most audiences would just be like, this is dumb or this is not for me. And then it wouldn't have done nearly as well as it did because it had a budget of 10 million and it made like over 120, I think, opening weekend.
It was pretty, and this is the director. This is a total. Isn't the guy that directed this? He's like actually one of the creators of the
He has
Backrooms.
been.
He's like the creator.
He's not
He
the
responded to a post. I
creator, but
remember
he
reading. He did
is
like an
one of the ones who's picked it up and is one of the most popular ones. He's been
Yeah.
doing
and
shorts on
before
his
the
YouTube.
movie, he
Yeah.
wrote like. Yeah, he made like, and I think it shows what you're saying, Dave. He made like a thing where somebody talked about the fact that he had started with like some prompt or something and actually wrote like a somewhere between like 60 and 80 page document of just lore
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
to
people,
like he really put thought into
Kane
yeah,
Parsons, I believe, is his name, by the way.
that is his name. He put a lot of thought into it, but like a lot of people back then who were like doing the SCP thing
Mm-hmm.
were like, oh yeah, what if? And then they would like write their own thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And Kane Parson,
something like on 4chan or something.
yeah. And Kane Parson actually did a short on YouTube when he was 16, like 4 years ago, that showed like a what would this kind of look like kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I know that because the Alamo Drafthouse actually featured it
Oh, nice.
as part of the
cool.
prelude to the actual movie.
I think
Oh, that's
I've
awesome.
seen some of the stuff he's done on his YouTube account. It's like his Blender work is fantastic, but like he's also been able to make fairly photorealistic things in Blender. It's a I mean, it helps that like when you apply certain filters to kind of give it more of a standard definition VHS tape quality, it hides a lot of the quote unquote imperfections, so it allows it to feel more photorealistic than it actually would be if you were looking at it straight unvarnished. But it's
Yeah.
fantastic
The
shit.
disservice that HD is. It's the disservice HD does to older films and
Yeah.
why I keep HD settings turned off on my TV because if you watch anything that's not made with HD in mind,
Mhm.
it ruins it. Like TV shows, movies, anything older, HD makes it very obvious. Like if you're watching something in HD, it's really easy to tell when the actors are on a set versus
Mhm.
are on a soundstage versus when they're on location because there is something in the fact that HD you pick up just enough of you can't even pinpoint it, but there's enough detail there to that your mind makes the can now make the jump to
Yeah.
that's fake versus that's real.
Yeah. I tend to think like TV obviously gets harder with it than film, because film, like, obviously the resolution on film is way more than even whatever the contemporary TV was of the time back then.
And TV's just lower budget,
Yeah.
so they're relying on other tricks and, like
hmm
put on like an episode of like Buffy or Angel with a TV on its HD settings
hmm
and it becomes really obvious, even
Oh yeah.
though, because this wasn't necessarily a high budget series, but it's a series that still had to have a soundstage versus physical
hmm
locations.
Also the problem
I
of
will digress.
when they forget, yeah, we filmed this with with a full. We filmed this full frame, but we were shooting
Aspect ratio.
Yeah, our intended aspect ratio was 4:3 for television. So, like, if you show the full frame when you're mastering this for Blu-ray and so on and so forth, you're gonna see the stuff we didn't want you to see. You can see all the production equipment on the side. No, we gotta crop this down. We can't just go full frame now, everyone. No. Crop it. It's not, that shit on the side was. You can see Bob there. You can see Bob holding the sound boom.
I would say, I remember there being, they're supposed to be on a planet, like another dimension by themselves, an angel, and there's just this random guy in the corner. And I'm like, well, you weren't supposed to see him. Oh, Buffy and Faith are tumbling down the stairs fighting each other. Oh, look, there's the camera that followed them down the stairs simultaneously when they shot this. Oh, look at this scene. They're all running up to a vehicle, and you hear Willow say something, but Allison Hannigan's lips aren't moving. Oh, Allison wasn't in the shot when they cut that. That's ADR.
So Liz,
yeah.
So Liz, what have you been watching this past couple weeks?
Well, again, I have a palate cleanser show right now, which I think I've always had for years. I've always had some show that is the show that I can put on when I don't know what else to watch, but I need something going. I don't need to put mental power in it. So I am on the maybe 5th run of South Park beginning to end. At this point, I just finish it and I start it back over. Look, before it was Family Guy, but it's always a show where there's a lot of it and it's something that just goes on and I can connect to easily and enjoy, but it also is something that is just also, at times maybe a bit mindless. So South Park works perfectly. Also, it's sort of, I double it as being working for my job, because since the guys who created South Park also, had like rule of replacing, and it's all this stuff that actually gets referenced at work and everything because we use and but therefore. So it's it's actually very fitting with my job that I'm like, I'm just cross training by watching South Park because I'm getting ABT work and it shows up. But what was I watching recently?
I forget, what's ABT stand for again?
And but
oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I restarted Discovery of Witches last night because I was kind of like, I don't know what to watch. But there was something before that I'd watched. So I finished up my Battlestar Galactica rewatch. What was it that I just caught up on and finished? Oh, I'm completely blanking on it. There was something. No, not that series. Oh... Not Mad Men, though I have been watching that off and on for the last few months. It's just, I can only watch so much before I need to step away from Mad Men for a while. It's not a show that Gilded Age. That's what I was I don't think
I'm familiar with that.
Gilded Age.
Like, I know the Gilded Age, but I'm not familiar with the show Gilded Age.
The show, it's an HBO show. It's very interesting. Is one, if you like costume dramas. But instead of being what most people expect, which is set in England, Victorian England or Edwardian England or in Regency era England, this is set in the States in the turn of the century. And it's
ironically, that's kind of what I was
specifically. So it's
is in the States.
Yeah, well, and because it is referring to that that era in the States pre-World War I. It's
like your Rockefeller era.
Industrial Revolution. Yeah, it very much is. It's old money versus new money. It's, of course, drama. It's the beginning of civil rights. You've got, characters. So it's also like, it's mostly white people, but like one of the main characters in the series is a young black woman, who's been privileged to not have to grow up experiencing slavery, but her father was a freed
Mm-hmm.
slave in the story. So there's impacts of like the differences of like the black people in the North, who've lived without slavery and have had their experiences versus the ones who literally were slaves and have memories of being, recent memories really of being slaves and then coming up to the, North after the Emancipation Proclamation and after Juneteenth to like, actually
Mm-hmm.
like explore their lives. It's very that, and that's just one
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it. Of course, very old money versus new money. I thought the show was finished, but apparently it's not. So I got to the end of the season 4, I think, finale, thinking, okay, wait, this feels like it's the end of it. There's no more. What? Apparently, there's another season coming out, which I'm glad because they ended on some pretty crazy stuff. But very well acted. Costumes are pretty and extravagant, and it is also very funny because it is very much this sort of wealthy out of touch society that's there's a wealth. It's very much that you're seeing the beginnings of like New York developing, like all the upper old money or wealthy all sit there and talk with that very sort of like, it's not British, but it's like a feigned British sounding style of speaking to make them sound lofty and high and
like
mighty.
the
And then you
Mid-Atlantic
get the
accent, or
inventor something, whatever it is. But and then you get like the one young man who's employed in one of these homes who ends up basically getting to leave behind that because he invents something, partners with another guy, they sell it to another thing, and he becomes essentially that era's version of a millionaire, but not millions. But he goes from basically nothing to $300,000 overnight.
wow.
But he talks, and it's like, I'm hearing the hints of a classic New York accent in there. So it's sort of it's a window into New York society in the early days. So it's enjoyable, it's fun. The acting's fun to it. Carrie Coons is one of the main characters in it, and she's of course excellent. I watched her in White Lotus and she was great there, and this is a very different character in this one, but equally well acted. So it's a fun, but that was the one I finished recently, but yeah. Or caught up on recently. Otherwise, my daily digestion is usually South Park.
Oh.
Which is why I can cite a lot of South Park now, because it's getting to the point. I had a song stuck in my head last night, and I just was like, it wasn't even a whole song. It was just like the last 2 like words of it, and I'm like, what is this in harmony thing coming
What
from?
would Brian Boitano do?
And I'm trying to pinpoint it, and then I was watching this morning and realized, oh, I had that part where Eric sings with his mom. Because I just watched the Eric behavioral issue episode where they try to get the version of like the British nannies to come like correct Eric's behavior, and then they get Caesar Milan instead to come in and correct Eric's behavior.
Which is kind of dark if you find out about Caesar Milan.
It is. Trust me, he's somebody who's not discussed in dog daycare, but is sort of
infamous.
We don't talk about him because we don't. Yeah. And I've known people on both. It had people who are like this and this, and it's funny in the context of South Park, while also being like, "Whoa, this is insane."
Yeah.
Also, having watched some of Super Nanny just in like videos that show up online of seeing what they're doing, and it's like this all makes sense. The downside is when you look at a lot of those families afterwards, other major underlying issues.
I don't know why, but talking,
families that seemed. Yeah. I was just going to say families that seemed like they were doing well at the end of Super Nanny, and you read and you find out that years later, dad left because he had multiple affairs, kicked out of the family, or, like these ones where they ended up falling apart because of something else, like that's like much deeper down.
Mine is a lot less. Yeah, I'm tongue-tied. But I was just going to say, talking about the nanny stuff reminded me, like, I think it's well earlier into the series. I don't remember if I ever saw this one. Definitely didn't see it live because didn't have Comedy Central on our crappy cable network at that time. The Cartman gets installed with a V-chip episode.
With a what chip?
You remember the V-chip?
Oh, that was in Bigger, Longer, Uncut. That's a
Oh,
movie.
that was in the movie. Why did I think that was in the show? Huh. But yet,
They blend together. They've also done a lot of specials
okay.
now,
But yeah,
especially in recent years, because they have like joining the Pandaverse,
Mhm.
the streaming wars, COVID,
Oh,
post-COVID,
this
COVID
is
part two,
definitely, this
COVID
is like
returns, and
way before
then
any
the
of
movie that came.
the
Yeah,
streaming stuff, because like
yeah,
the V chip at the time, that was
yeah,
like, we've installed this chip in the TV that will block inappropriate programming for children, and also the V chip was it was a it was bullshit. It
yeah,
did not work, if memory serves.
yeah. No, they did. That's too. That's the older
Yeah.
movies, which is so funny to say older movies and
What
everything.
would
But
Brian
they did.
Boitano
I
do?
think they revisited it. They revisited it more similarly. Actually, the Brian Boitano joke came up within the show too, so they think they sort of revisited
Mhm.
it. There was a thing they did later where it was all our parents like watching murder porn. It's making them commit murder, and so the kids put parental blocks, content blocks on all
Oh
their
my god.
TVs to stop their parents from watching murder documentaries. Um, and then they block it with the parents have to learn to play Minecraft in order to solve the block.
No more true
And it's
crime
this
for
kid
you.
who like seems like a normal child, and then when they uncut and when it's revealed like this kid, when the parents try to go get this one kid to help them, he acts like a small child until they're like, we know you can help us do this, and then he switches over to like a Gordon Ramsay style yelling at the parents to teach them Minecraft. So ridiculous.
For me, uh, I won't delve into it too much because it might come up on the show more, but I've been watching a bunch of Standalone Complex lately, going back through that because the new Ghost in the Shell's gonna start airing next month, so yay.
Mm,
But that makes, I
that's
think, a
exciting.
excellent segue into the episode, so I guess
Come here, potato.
without further ado, we will start the good old fade in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and fade in.
The Confabulators is hosted by Liz Strauss and David Bockenkamp. Editor is E.W. Klein. Theme music is Oh Heavens by Cassidy B. Composer and artist, cbrva.card.co.